Hi guys, it's Catherine. So today I'm going to make a video that I know is not going to be of interest to everyone, but I do know that a lot of people who make booktube videos either work in the publishing industry or would like to start working in that industry. And so I thought I would just share my experiences so far. In particular, I want to talk about choosing an academic path into publishing, which is what I've chosen to do through doing a master's degree in publishing. I just want to share some information and advice that I've received so far, and hopefully it might help a few of you who are maybe thinking about this path. And so everything I'm going to talk about is pertinent specifically to the UK, I'm afraid. I know there are quite a few courses similar to this in the US, but I can't speak of any other countries. As a quick background, I studied English and Film Studies at university, and I did lots of work experience in newspapers and TV companies, and I always wanted to get some work experience in publishing, but I found it really difficult to find any established schemes in Scotland where I live for work experience, and I sent out lots of emails which pretty much all went unanswered. I did start looking for jobs in the publishing industry after I graduated this June, but without concrete experience in the field, I wasn't getting anywhere. It's a really competitive industry because it's one that's really appealing to so many people. So without some sort of concrete evidence of your dedication to it through work experience, I wasn't even going to be considered for interview. You may have different experiences if you live in London, where there are a much higher concentration of publishers, and it might be easier to get work experience at really small publishing houses. But in Scotland, even the smallest ones aren't really offering work experience to people. I was quite relieved to finally find the Master of Letters degree at the University of Stirling in Publishing Studies, because I'd been looking for a job for several months and I really wasn't getting anywhere and starting to feel a bit hopeless about either finding a job or even finding work experience that would help me get a job. The course is 1 year long. It consists of 2 semesters that are taught and then one 15,000 word dissertation over the summer. And there are 2 similar courses in Scotland, one at Stirling and one at Edinburgh Napier. And I applied for both and I was accepted for both, and it was quite difficult to choose between them because the content of the courses appear to be very similar. I chose Stirling primarily because it's cheaper to live here. I can rent a flat for myself for the same price it would cost me to rent a room in Edinburgh, and also the course in Stirling has been around for about 30 years, which is quite a bit longer than the one in Edinburgh, so I thought maybe it is a bit more established. Although, to be honest, I think at the end of the day the degree from either of them is going to be equally valuable. There are quite a few other publishing courses around the UK, and I would imagine the content is structured fairly similarly at all of them. It's quite a big commitment to choose to do a master's because firstly it's another year at university, which I know is not the most attractive prospect to most people, and also it's expensive. My course costs just over £6,000, which is a lot of money, and it's hard to make that judgment whether or not it's worth it. Luckily in Scotland we have a good finance scheme where you can apply for student loans that will cover your tuition fees, so I don't have to pay it up front, and I can also apply for a living expenses loan, so I can use that to pay my rent as well. But at the end of it, it means I will be £10,000 in debt on top of the loans that I have to pay back for my undergraduate degree. Obviously the reason that I'm doing this master's is to make myself more employable and to expand my career horizons beyond my first publishing job by teaching me more about all different areas of the sector so that I could hopefully move between areas if I feel the need to. I think a master's degree in publishing is one of the best ways to show a continued commitment to the industry before you join it, and I'm hoping at least that it will show this dedication in my CV and make me a more competitive applicant for jobs once I finish the course. I have to hope that in the long term it will be worth the money, although it's hard for me to say that now when I've just started. But so far I am feeling optimistic that it's the right choice for me, so I want to just lay out some of the pros and cons that I've experienced so far. The teaching is very industry focused, at least in my course, and it really explains the nitty-gritty of how a publishing company operates. And they are businesses, so we learn about how they operate profitably and how a book is costed and all this sort of financial information. As someone who comes from an arts background and predictably wants to work in publishing because I love reading and I want to expose more people to great books, it's a bit jarring to hear publishing talked about in such unromantic and business-oriented terms, but I think it's really important to get this overview because publishing companies are businesses, and if they're going to employ you, they want to know that you're going to help them be profitable more than to know that you love to read. Doing a publishing master's also exposes you to the industry directly. I know at my course at least we have a visiting speaker come once a week from various publishing companies or different book related careers, and just talk about what they do and help guide us in our future path in deciding what we want to do once we graduate. And there are also lots of opportunities to go to conferences and events and socials and just places that you will meet lots of people that work in the industry. So I'll give you some of the advice that I've been given by people who work in the industry, and firstly what all of them say is use Twitter. It seems like all publishing companies really interact on social media, particularly Twitter, not only to talk about their latest releases, but also to advertise work experience and internships. And it's a great way to get to speaking with people who work in the industry. It's a less scary way to network than face-to-face, and also you'll just meet lots of like-minded people who are interested in books and are excited by them. I'll link my own Twitter page in the description of this video. It's very new and I'm still getting to grips with it myself, but I'm really enjoying using it. Secondly, join publishing organisations such as The Bookseller, which is a platform that allows you to access industry news and also subscribe to a weekly magazine, either in print or digital, that gives you lots of the latest information, news, interviews, bestseller lists, everything like that, that is so crucial really to you learning more about the industry. As a student you get a fairly substantial discount to this as well. It costs about £50 a year for access to the digital magazine and also full access to their website, which I think is really reasonable for the amount of information you get. I would also recommend the Society of Young Publishers, which is aimed at anyone who's new to the industry to help them network, find their feet, learn and just meet lots of new people who are also working in the industry. It costs about £25 to join for the year, which again is really reasonable because that gives you access to all of their events. And there are several divisions around the UK, including one for Scotland, and most of their events are based in Edinburgh, which I understand is not useful to everyone living in Scotland, but if you do live nearby, it's really worthwhile going along to their events. They include conferences and networking opportunities, and they're all really relaxed and informal, so it's not a scary place to go. I would also say subscribe to lots of free newsletters. I subscribe to lots of publishers' newsletters and also retailers like Waterstones that will give you information about new releases and what titles they're particularly marketing at that time. And also I would say Publishing Perspectives is a daily bulletin that gives you information about international publishing, which is also really interesting, and again it's free. I think the thing that drew me most to this master's course was how vocational it was. It really promised to give you a real insight into the industry itself, and I find that this is definitely true. It gives you practical experience in using software like InDesign, and also advice on how to write good cover letters for publishing jobs, but also it gives you lots of opportunities to apply for internships and work experience that simply aren't available to people who aren't on the course. I've discovered the reason why so many of my emails during the summer went unanswered. Lots of these publishing companies only take people for work experience who are doing a master's course in publishing. And I understand this maybe isn't the fairest system, but it's really worked in my favour since I've joined the course, and I have had opportunities to do things that I couldn't have done before I started it. I've been able to apply for lots of different things, not only internships that involve going to the office and working there like one day a week, but also doing things like freelance work from home, which is more flexible, or being part of judging panels, which is really exciting, or even reading manuscripts from home that are sent to a publisher. I do need to say that none of the opportunities that I've been able to apply for so far are paid, and that is a problem. It's a subject that's too big for me to talk about in this video, but I think the issue of unpaid work is a problem that is systemic and insidious in the publishing industry and in lots of industries, to be honest, and because it creates an exclusive and exclusionary atmosphere. And I feel a lot of moral hesitation in applying for these schemes because in doing so I'm fully aware that I'm perpetuating their existence, but right now I feel like I don't have many other options. I spent the summer saving up money because I knew that I probably wouldn't be able to earn much money this year, and actually it's going to be a pretty expensive year for me, but I know that not everyone has the opportunity to save money like I did. As far as I understand it, in publishing you have to start at the bottom and work your way up. So even if you've got some experience or a lot of experience in a different industry, you will probably be joining the publishing industry at the level of marketing or editorial or other assistant. And it's worth saying that in doing this course, it's not a stepping stone to a higher position. Once I graduate, I will still be applying for the same jobs that other people who haven't done the course will be applying for. What I hope is that it makes me a more competitive applicant for these jobs, and also that the usefulness of the degree extends beyond the first job, because after this year I will have learned the fundamentals of all sectors of publishing, so I hope it will allow me to progress more quickly than if I hadn't done the degree. It's difficult for me to judge now at the beginning of this course whether this was the right choice for me, but I already feel more confident about finding a job and succeeding in the industry after I graduate, because firstly, I feel like I really am learning a lot about the industry that will help me practically in jobs, and also just in interviews being able to have real and meaningful conversations about publishing. And also I feel like I already have a lot more concrete experience in the publishing industry, which is absolutely crucial when looking for a job. It's also just been a great opportunity to meet people who are similar to me, not for career advancement or any self-serving thing like that, but just genuinely to make friends with people who are interested in books, who love reading, love talking about bookshops and going to bookshops, and that sounds like the ideal life for me. I hope I've been able to clarify some things and maybe help you if you're considering going along this path. I feel like I can't say categorically whether you should or shouldn't choose it, but maybe this will help you come to your own conclusions. So if you've got any other questions, then please either leave them in the comments or send me a message. I'm more than happy to talk to you about any aspect of publishing or master's degrees. And I would like to make more videos about the industry side of publishing in the future, some more interesting things like design, book design, cover design, that kind of thing, and also maybe more practical advice on how to be successful looking for internships and work experience and all that slightly less exciting stuff. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!